It's the Rapid Capture Podcast.
WWDC Special Edition.
Welcome back to the Rapid Capture Podcast, episode 11. We've been gone for well over 2 months, but things happen. We've been busy, but this is the Rapid Capture Podcast with me, Ty, and Alex, aka Ty Kicks, and Alex Tench / the Photogrammetry Man.
I think I definitely prefer the Photogrammetry Man. That's probably the best way to find stuff on YouTube. I've got some glasses that I'm filming you. I've just pressed go on them. I don't think we've seen them on the podcast before, so I thought I'd film you with my glasses as you're shaking your head. Doesn't give me much confidence that things are working okay.
Everything's absolutely fine. We're all good.
You're shaking your head like the audio's broken.
No, we're all good. We're all good.
Okay, so I thought I'd film you on these glasses because I don't think we did much about these glasses before. When we last did a podcast,
no,
I've been filming you with these Ray-Ban Stories.
Yeah, or AKA the pervert glasses, as we call them. And
hey, Facebook, take a photo.
So yeah, Alex purchased these. Let's just sort of start from the top though. So this whole podcast is going to be a little bit extended because of the fact that we've been away for 2 months. Alex likes to jump the mark, but we will get into those things. One of the sort of main reasons why is because we've been away quite a bit. There's been a lot of things going on and a lot of news in the world of XR. If you've been under a rock, you probably will want to listen to this in its entirety, but you may know some stuff already. Since episode 10, we've been to Indianapolis to FDIC, which is one of the biggest fire conferences in the world, showcasing lots of stuff from new equipment in fire and emergency response, first responder stuff, to the latest in technology. And we also went to Augmented World Expo, AWE, in San Jose in California last month. So let's go back to FDIC first, and you can definitely talk about your shades there. FDIC Indianapolis in April. It feels like forever ago.
Yeah, that's what happens though. Time goes on, things go forward, time moves on, and everyone's busy, so we never get to do the things we want to do. But Indianapolis was good. It was a good show. Just me and you, stayed in an Airbnb, and we were in the fire station of the future. Have we not talked about that at all online? It feels like we've murdered that to death on LinkedIn. Maybe we just have done that, but we haven't put anything in a video of what happened.
Our last episode, I was talking about how I'd come back from doing the Tesla shoot for the solar roof, and that you had a bad back.
Yeah, so after that shoot that I didn't make, we went back to America, and Tesla was showing the video that Tyrone made with Joe, which was the firefighters in America chainsawing through some solar panels on a roof to work out the composition of that roof, and that was all delivered in Riverlink. So that was a great demo to see on their stand. Also, we did the QR codes for them. So they had their massive banner with people on their stand, and the big bit in the middle had 4 QR codes to show the 3D models. So that's what we didn't even mention. I'm sure we can show that sort of stuff.
We'll dig up the video somewhere. But while we were out there, we were at FDIC predominantly as kind of initially consulting with Tesla, who were going to be showing this video from California. We also got them the ability to showcase some of their products using AR. So we managed to kind of create them some links to some of their products, such as a Tesla Model Y, I believe it was. We had a solar roof panel. We had a supercharger. We had... what else did we have? I've completely forgotten, but we had some other things. We had a power wall and we had a mega pack. All things that are rather large things to bring to an exhibition hall that would cost thousands of pounds. And they just needed to put a few QR codes on their banner and people could scan them and bring them out into the real world. So
saves a little bit of money.
Pretty amazing. Gave them, a little bit of a difference to other stands of the booths at the show. It really drew a crowd. They had a really great idea to kind of like have their Riverlink system, their Classroom in a Box Riverlink VR system, which they were showing this solar roof cutting exercise that I shot in Oakland in March around a campfire. So we had a few camp chairs. This was one of the videos from the show showcasing the Lucas Oil Stadium where this fire station of the future was.
This is probably the best video to watch as we're talking about the Tesla and RiVR collaboration. This, you can see the QR codes behind our Tesla friend here, and then you scan them with your phone, pop them out. They've also got Flame on the stand as well as RiVR on the other side with RiVR Link. It was just, I really like having Flame and Link on the same thing so people understand the differences between Flame and RiVR, because they're very different types of virtual reality.
And obviously, if you're listening to this in terms of you can't see what's on the screen, it's just showing the booth. The booth had this kind of sort of center display in the middle with all these QR codes, and then sort of an outline of the different things the QR codes would pop up. And then on one side of it, you had Flame, and the other side you had RiVR Link showing virtual reality video, 3D 180. And can you explain what Flame is, just so that you can explain that difference?
Yeah, I mean, Flame is amazing they have a fire extinguisher trainer, which is a mobile thing, but this one is where you basically squirt water on the fire in loads of different scenarios to work out, the firefighter procedures for putting out hot fire. Whereas that's one piece of virtual reality. RiVR Link, we always say, is totally different because you could use Link for every single bit of fire training. You just wouldn't be physically doing the squirting of water. You could maybe look at fire behaviour or procedures that you might do with a fire extinguisher. It's very different to Flame.
So the one thing that was really good as well about the show was it seemed like there was a little opening for some extra technology being placed into this fire station of the future, which was inside of the NFL stadium. It's literally over the road from the exhibition centre, and we, with collaboration with Flame and with Tesla and with Dali, who are all partners that we work with in some capacity, maybe not so much Flame are their own kind of VR company, but we know them and are friendly with them. We kind of like had a little space to go and show some capabilities within this fire station in the future, maybe for future training. There'll be a future VR training room where you have this VR hardware that you can use every day to learn new stuff, or at the very least absorb new information based on predetermined outcomes. It was a really good idea, but I think that maybe next year, hopefully with our help, we can kind of make that space a little bit better for the organisers and really flesh it out a little bit. We're excited about what that could be.
Yeah, 2024.
Yeah, so, that was FDIC. Amazing. Always a great response. Had some really, really good interactions with people. And then moving on from the end of April, we kind of had a lot of preparation because we knew we had a booth at AWE, which is a large XR showcase. It's an exhibition hosted around the world pretty regularly. Augmented World Expo, this time in San Jose, California. We had our own booth showing off RiVR Link, RiVR CSI, and RiVR Investigate. Two of our colleagues came along to help do demoing, Kat and Ollie. You've met Ollie in a previous podcast, and we've got a little video as well. So this video, obviously, if you're listening, it's a good run through of the show floor, and basically sort of showing off a little bit of our booth and the setup. It was a really good show. I felt like I wish it was a bit longer.
It was only 2 days long, and it was just before the Apple announcement, so that was interesting timing. There was a little bit of maybe a buzz around the floor that a lot of the companies in this hall might be a little bit more obsolete come Monday, which was the Apple announcement, and I guess we can talk about that more shortly. But we had RiVR Link, RiVR Investigate, and RiVR CSI, which is our VR training packages that we sell for blue light services and also every training. But CSI and Investigate are for fire and police, but Link is for every industry.
And what was really good was it gave me an opportunity to kind of put my thinking hat on about what we could get out of that particular event. We went to a networking event literally the day after we landed. It was really good. It was hosted by XReal, and we'll get into who XReal are in the XR news. But
while we were there as well, we also had meetings that you'd arranged with Meta and with Apple a few days after, and also Pico. So for us, it was really good to keep up to date with the hardware manufacturers and hear what they've got coming out soon.
Yeah, this was the thing that I wanted to kind of get ahead of before we went out there. So we had we've started some communications with Meta in the UK, which then led to some fruitful kind of links to speaking to some people in the US, maybe with some really interesting business possibilities in the future. Pico North America are a very strong sort of partner, like they are Pico in Europe. So we wanted to go and sort of hang out with those guys and see what the future holds with them. And then we had a surprise meeting out of left field. Alex has maybe elaborated on it, but we'll elaborate further a little bit later on in the podcast to keep you all in suspense. So from there, and that's just a little bit of an elaboration, considering that all of that stuff doesn't take 5 minutes to do. It's been months in planning and months in preparation. So
AWE?
FDIC and AWE and all these meetings. We are going to come back to some of that stuff a little bit later on, but let's go on to what we normally do. A couple of hot takes in terms of the world of scanning, some cool river news, any social hits, tell me.
Oh, I can definitely talk about models, since it's been absolutely ages. I've sold 16 models since our last podcast.
Oh, it's nothing. Terrible.
Well, you're gonna come up with a bigger number.
No.
But we've done 16 models since. I'm not going to show you them all because it's boring. But it starts from back in February. After the February one, I sold some crashed cars. Then I sold a brick wall, a plug socket, a female casualty, a stairwell equipment door, a VW Polo, a crashed car, another crashed car, fish and chips, Miller and Carter T-bone steak.
It's rolling.
Getting boring now.
Absolutely rolling.
Couch in the Venetian, motorcycle boots, Christmas Eve Indian starter, Alcatraz sold. Oh, the best one did sell. Amazing. And the Caesar salad. So that's probably a little bit too many words, but that's a lot of models, just showing you that these things are still selling. One of my latest scans was this guy, Paul Oz, artist, did this bronze creation over in Caffeine and Machine, and I scanned this in about 10 minutes with Polycam. But the main thing is £39,000 this is to buy. So I wonder if Ross is going to 3D print this for me.
When did you start? When's your sales starting from? From when?
From when we last did a sale. I went back and looked at the last podcast. My last one was this 10th of Feb.
Okay.
So from the 10th of Feb, that's the sales. 73 items sold, $590.
I've sold 12 in that time, so not far behind.
Okay,
doing pretty well considering it's
like 2 months then. So we both doing double figures. Yeah,
I've done a couple of Alcatraz. A lot of mine tend to be sneakers. I did a car crash like you, but like I'd probably say it's half and half Alcatraz and sneakers for me. So yeah, from that standpoint, 16 sold, 12 sold, and some money made.
So scanning's definitely taken off. I guess there's a bit I could talk about that are not for sale, but there's this St Mary's scanning that we did. You can see them on the screen there, but there's a video of me climbing up the scaffolding. You've not been up yet. You need to come up the scaffolding and do some 3D 180.
It looks safer than being in a submarine anyway. Look at it
yes, that way. I think I'd rather be up the scaffolding. So went up the church and scanned some of these. Just quickly, here's the clock face photogrammetry scan with a mobile phone. But this clock face has now been removed and they're restoring it all. So we went up with the historian recently and he was doing some video for us, talking through some of the work that's happening up St Mary's Church in Warwick. But when I was up there, I basically scanned 5 different items, and I think Joe's 3D printed some of these shields so that people can hold the shields in their hands.
Nice.
But that's ongoing project with St Mary's Church.
Excellent. Yeah, I've really not done a lot of scanning in terms of Polycam. Looking back at what I've done recently, I suppose the closest that I can say I've used Polycam for was we were doing some more stuff with Royal Ballet, and I scanned one thing from there as a prop from their prop house, and then I've scanned 2 other things. One, the Alcatraz model that's at Alcatraz when we were in San Francisco, which is the same as your best one, I think you've called it.
Shall I bring it up on here?
Bring it up, yeah, go for it. And
this is the model outside Alcatraz that you saw when you went with Joe, and then I went to Alcatraz again. I think you did as well.
I couldn't scan this when I went with Joe because it was too dark. Like when we got off the boat, it was too dark. But when I went there this time, I scanned it in the day before I got on the boat. I had time to do it. So quite lucky in that sense. But I think that my model might be better than yours. But
maybe,
we'll have a look. We'll
but
do a comparison maybe for the next...
there's this one here as well. This is another Alcatraz.
Not yours, though.
This is a stolen Alcatraz from Polycam, like yours was.
Yeah, but this is definitely done with a drone as opposed to scanning a miniature
model.
This is the real Alcatraz.
Yeah,
which
looks better.
It's miles better. Yeah.
I want to talk about this one quickly because this is a little project that I was thinking about doing.
Yeah.
This went down quite well on LinkedIn. So in St Mary's Church, Beecham Chapel in Warwick, there's a theme here, isn't there? Warwick and churches.
Alex is not addicted to Warwick at all.
No. This is a broken piece of wood, and it's all around the Beecham Chapel. So I just basically 3D scanned it. If you look, you've got the back of it as well, not the broken bit, but we got the back of the other bit down here, so that we can 3D print it. So you see all of the shape there.
Yeah.
Ross can do all shape on that, and I'm trying to print it, and then get the print out and spray it, and then cut it and put it into there. So they could, because it cost tens of thousands of pounds to have a quote to get all of these fixed. I just wondered if there was a cheap way you could show them a different way to do it with technology.
Wow, yeah, and maybe in the future there's a way that they can literally print things onto it. You know how they print houses? They do the 3D printed houses.
Yeah, just bring the machine to it.
Bring the machine to it and start layering it into the actual furniture, basically, in that sense.
Carrying on the theme of 3D printing, look at this. That's Tyrone's. Tell us what that is.
So this was so on SpaceX rockets, they have what are classed as grid fins. You can see them dangling off this particular rocket that Alex is holding that's 3D printed. But those grid fins in real life are absolutely massive. And what they're there for is to help sort of guide, almost like flaps on an aeroplane. It's there to sort of like move. And so they twist and move left, right, up, down. And the air flows through them and it moves basically what is a massive on fire tube towards the ground, but I wanted to kind of do a scaled down version, so I printed this. It's probably the biggest I can do it on my resin 3D printer, and then give it a bit of a spray and a bit of a tarnish, and now I have a mildly used miniature of a grid fin that would be on a Falcon 9 rocket, which is pretty awesome. Yeah, I love it, and it's an ornament.
And then this is Ross's as well, 3D print, same thing, different scale. How long did that take? Is it hollow?
It's hollow, yeah. It is all hollow. It didn't take very long on the fast printer, to be fair. We've got 2 printers and one is pretty rapid, to be honest. And I think that in its entirety probably took a couple of days. So
and
in terms of like printing all the different bits.
All the engines as well.
Yeah, now we just need to put the stickers on it, or the stencils on it for the branding.
Have we got stickers the right scale? Or
I don't think it's going to be stickers. I think we might do stencil. And then we're going to kind of dirty it up and make it look like it's been used. So that's the plan.
It looks cool.
I was going to show you this one. So I did this scan of this sort of like head.
Yeah, bronze.
So it's a bust. And this was down in Monterey. It's quite cool. It's just literally just by the pier or by the kind of the seashore. And it's something to do with, obviously, a bit of history down in Monterey. But it came out really well.
Where's Monterey?
Down the coastline, south of San Francisco, San Jose.
Oh yeah, south from San Jose.
Yeah, on the coastline. So really, really cool scan in Polycam. That's just one of the 2. I did the Alcatraz one. But a lot of stuff I've done recently has been Nerfs. I've been back on the Nerf train.
God, I need to practice a bit of that. I've not really taken much Nerf into my phone recently. I had to get a new phone because I cracked a camera, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Same again.
So I did a Nerf of the other model that was on Alcatraz inside a glass
Make
container.
Sure your camera can see, because that's a good way of doing it, as long as it can see off this camera.
Yeah. So this is the This is a Nerf of another model that's inside a glass cabinet on Alcatraz Island. Yeah. And it's like, if you can't touch it, Nerf it, kind of thing. So, as Alex likes to say.
I like that. If you can't touch it, just Nerf it.
Yeah, and I also went on a little family trip to Disneyland in Paris, and I scanned a few things there, like this fountain with Mickey Mouse, which I thought was quite cool.
This is good to show like that, because as long as you can see it.
Yeah, so that's a couple of things that I've done. I don't know if you'll be able to see them, but if you're listening, there are... One was of that bust that was literally it's outside in the open and easily accessible, and I could get all around it, so it was a good PG scan. And then the other thing was a fountain that in the middle of it had Mickey Mouse dressed like a wizard, kind of Fantasia style. So yeah, some cool stuff.
I want to try that now. Look, here's something else from FDIC that I scanned, which was a firefighter. Maybe he's going to take a while. Okay, look, Polycam's loading.
Taking its time, but it will get there.
Speed's quite good. This was a scan we did at FDIC. If we're looking at cameras,
nice.
Look at him. Look at his helmet. Zooming right in on his helmet. Nice and shiny, but it made it. Polycam. That was really good. And then we come back out. One more thing I was going to talk about. Different subject, but Polycam related. Polycam have a new feature where you go to add at the bottom, and then you get the option to do 360. I know it might be quite basic. I used to have it on a Pixel phone where I could do 360 photos. But you don't have the ability, other than panoramas, I don't think, on an iPhone to do a 360.
No.
So this is now built into Polycam. Do 360 photos inside the app and then upload them as a 360. You can also put your Polycams inside that 360. Like Skybox.
Nice. Yeah, that's cool. Cool little feature. Polycam are always trying to upgrade their stuff. Same with Luma. They've got a couple of different features now which will allow you to feed in through their browser application 360 video. So you can feed 360 video into
as
it
an input
and create a Nerf from the 360 video now, which is quite good. I think the only reason why you can't do it on a phone is because 360 video is quite high resolution to the point where it's too high to load it onto the phone and then upload it onto their servers. So it's easier just to do it through a computer or a Mac or whatever. So that was most of the scanning information. On sort of RiVR news, obviously our objective to go out to the States on a regular basis is that we want to grow our awareness of what RiVR do, RiVR products. If you don't know, then it gives you an opportunity listening to us about we're into everything VR, but we obviously are part of a VR company and we provide VR products that are there to help educate, train, demonstrate, and help people to learn with some positive outcomes. So from that standpoint, being at a fire show is very much about hopefully giving people the ability to learn without putting themselves in danger. If we're at Augmented World Expo, that's very much about showcasing our capabilities. And we got some really good responses at AWE and FDIC.
The best bit about RiVR Link for most people is that they can shoot their own video. I've got a camera in my bag, but we give them a 360 camera and they film their own content, load that onto the box. That's the key thing, because they don't want to go and pay someone else to make their own training videos for their people. They can do it themselves. Actually easier to shoot immersive video than it is 2D.
And it's amazing, actually, just something like watching the video that we've got on the screen, which is the Tesla sort of reel from FDIC, just watching people's responses to some of the things, whether it be the AR models or whether it be the 3D 180 content. You get a lot of people now being far more accepting of XR, VR, AR, anything like that is becoming more commonplace. And so we were in a kind of talk, and I remember the question went out, what do you think is next for training? And now we're hearing more and more people going, well, VR looks like it'll be the next kind of thing for training. Whereas it used to be, we had to tell them, you should use VR for this.
Yeah, we just had a massive help though by a big friend at Apple.
Yeah, and also the pandemic also helped kick people up the bum for XR a little bit, because at the end of the day, you're going to have a lot of people that feel like it's not quite there yet, but the reality is it'll only get there through adoption. People need to start utilising it and understanding that certain things aren't for the future. They're actually available now, and we will get on to something that would seem very futuristic in a minute, but actually it's going to be available sooner than you think. Anyway, last thing is, really quickly, we've got 3 minutes before a quick snap, change over to the next thing, which is any social hits.
Oh, not really. So no, I had 11,000 on a TikTok video. You've probably beaten me a lot. I have not done TikTok videos. I'm definitely going to be signing out of this competition. I think I can say I've won on 3D models.
Yeah, so I won on 3D
models. I'm loading my TikTok up now. The last one, the biggest one, was like 11,000, and it was about McDonald's straws. So, yeah, not really much going off on that.
I definitely think you could have done that a better way, and it would have definitely gone off a bit better. I think it was a bit too confusing.
I agree.
But, you know, you got a bit of traction from it.
I've got 17 drafts in there to edit.
I have got a couple of really interesting surprises, really, because I had a few that just sort of like popped off for no reason whatsoever late on. So the first one was when I was out in California the first time. The big hitter things for me were the flood videos, and I don't know if you remember, if you listen to podcasts going back, there's an AR app that allows you to make places look like they've been flooded, utilising the LiDAR on iPhones, and I did quite a lot of that. One of them did pretty well, did about 20 million, and I did another one as I was on the plane on the way home, basically saying my plane had a leak and we had to land. That has now done 1.1 million views. And initially, I'd probably say less than a month ago, it had less than 250,000.
So it's grower.
So that's gone mad in a certain space of time. And then the other one, which will shock Alex to the core, is that we did the same thing when we were in Indy in a McDonald's. You did your video, I did my video. I've checked your video recently, and I don't think it's done more than 1,000 views. But if it has, you can correct me. Mine has gone to 128,000 views.
And what was it? Where was it?
This was this one.
McDonald's.
A homeless man floods McDonald's, and the employee is very kind to mop up this monster flood. That's
okay, yeah, I'll have to try and find it. That was a bit far back.
Yeah, so yeah, Indy that was on the 27th of April. But literally, when I first posted it, it did nothing. It did like 200 views, and then in the last, I'd say 2 weeks, it's just gone a bit nuts. People kind of like go, why would he bother mopping something that's so flooded? These are all very, very silly little videos, but just all part of the fun of the experiment that is TikTok.
I'm trying to find it now, and now I want to know. This was McDonald's flooded.
Yeah. How many views?
666.
Oh, so you've done 6,000 then?
600.
Oh, 600. Oh, so there you go then.
Rubbish.
Definitely smashed that one.
Okay, 1.9.
1.9. Okay.
1.9 thousand.
So
I did two videos.
As we always do, we are going to go into the world of XR news, but because of the massive gap we've had, we do have to really kind of go through just a few highlights, and what we aren't going to do is go over the biggest headliners, because we're saving that for the end. It's been a massive 2 months, or even just a few weeks in XR, if I'm brutally honest. So let's go over these ones pretty quickly. Nothing kind of too elaborate, but interesting to kind of know. So the first thing is that Google and Samsung did announce a little while back that they were going to be coming back to the world of XR, and there was some reports sort of early May time that they are looking to maybe get this new headset out by the end of the year. So that'd be really interesting that Google and Samsung are coming together on this particular project.
What do they say about it then? They say that they have got something that's coming out.
They announced at the I/O 2023 that they have
revealed
some kind of collaborative hardware, but they are going to obviously be using, at the moment, the only offering, which is Qualcomm chipsets. And so that is what's held VR in its place at the moment for both Meta, HTC, or anybody else who's making standalone devices.
It's
is
the
that they're
product
stuck
off
with
the
Qualcomm.
Off the shelf chips.
Yeah. That said, though, that doesn't necessarily mean that the Qualcomm chip that they'll use in this new headset won't be a new one.
Wouldn't it be really handy if you had loads of money and you can make your own hardware?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And you don't rely on really anybody else that much when it comes to how you want to lead the world in your vision. But yeah, interesting. I would like to see what's going to happen. Obviously, there has been a rather large reveal of something that we'll talk about in a minute.
I like photos. This has not got many photos other than a picture.
But that might drive how this particular product becomes in the future. We don't know. The thing we're going to talk about in a minute.
Well, let's get on with it then, so we can have a proper discussion about everything.
The next thing was that preempting this potential big news from Apple. Meta apparently had some talks with Magic Leap about the potential to do a deal to drive AR glasses.
Meta reportedly in talks with Magic Leap for mainstream AR products. Tech deal.
And we all know that Alex loves Magic Leap. So the reality is that if Meta and Magic Leap get together and decide to make some sort of baby, it might not be a favourable one. But who knows?
If they do, can they please just make sure that the whole of the display can show pixels? Because it's so crap to see a box like that. It's completely not going to be acceptable in anyone's world to have anything like that.
Anything that
HoloLens or Magic Leap, no.
Anything that has a solid line running anywhere that, like you say, is
through
a box,
the screen.
It needs to be full field of view. And I don't know how that will work in glasses, considering obviously they're glasses, not a VR headset. But yeah,
it works on Meta Quest Pro because you can see right to the edge, and then it fits completely into the world. So your hand just goes like that, and it works totally fine. Although Meta Quest Pro might be a little bit of a paperweight these days.
Maybe. I think it's definitely going to be a useful tool for people who want to experience new UIs, shall we say.
Yeah, but not someone who's going to want to buy a Quest 3.
I think that's it. We'll go on to that one in a minute. So the next thing was that Nreal, who are an AR glasses company, or believe they're an AR glasses company. Really, I feel like for the most part, they do some interactive stuff if you're utilizing things like Android, but if you're using an iPhone or something, or you're using a Steam Deck or something, it's very much just like a casting device for having a pair of glasses to give you a big screen.
Wait, you've moved on. Nreal then.
Yeah,
we've moved on from the Meta.
We're on to Nreal now.
Nreal rebrands to Xreal and announces adapter for iPhones. Are these the glasses that Alan Smithson had a while ago?
I don't know. All I know is that this is where we can go back to AWE, and the networking event that we went to was hosted by Xreal.
Yep.
So Xreal hosted this big event. Lots of people turned up in the world of XR. Everyone was there to see and hear people doing some talks and food and drink and really mingle. We got to see a lot of people that we know, good friends, Chris Madsen from Engage and plenty of others. It was really, really
Longdon
good.
Vision.
Longdon Vision, yeah, Andrew from Longdon Vision was really good, and he was the one that kind of gave us the heads up on it. So thank you, Andrew, for that one.
The food and drink was amazing at the little event.
It absolutely was. It was brilliant. But yeah, Nreal have been around for a little while, and they have just decided all of a sudden they're going to call themselves Xreal or XR. If you know what I mean. I think that XR in it is kind of a real reason to rebrand. And they had a really decent, huge booth at AWE right at the front, showing off their glasses and their new kind of adapter beam that will allow you to connect to more devices.
And we had a little go on them, I think.
Yeah.
But $380 virtual monitor glasses. There you go. Without tracking cameras and lacking true AR capability. But it's really good for watching films on planes.
I know. The only thing that I feel like is that if you can't have it locked, if you can't have the experience locked, if your head moves around, everything moves around. Yeah. So not so sure that they're something that I'm looking to purchase.
It's interesting that the demo, as we put our head into the demo, you put the glasses on and you can't move the glasses. That's clever, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because if you were to put them on and then you'd see this screen with you everywhere you go, I think you'd be like, what the hell's this for?
When it's the screen sharing thing, it's that. When it's their own menu system, that one does lock.
Locks onto stuff?
Yeah. It does, but it's not locking by using tracking. It's just putting it in one fixed position and leaving it there.
Oh, okay.
So it's not a case of it's using tracking to do that. It's just
orientated
just leaving it
that way.
It's just that you look away, it just stays where it is. You look the other way, it stays where it is. But that's only for the menu that you think you get through Android, I believe. So
maybe we need to have another play with it.
Maybe. Okay.
They could just send us one and we can play in the office.
I've tried. Let's come on. Okay. I've been trying.
Well, let's try more.
So the next thing was Big Screen, who are they're a
software
company that
inside a headset.
They have an application that's very much about media-related stuff. They announced a little while ago they were going to be making a custom VR headset for people.
Tiny.
It's a PC-based VR headset, really small, no tracking cameras or anything. I think it still utilises lighthouses maybe as well. and it has a custom molded interface for your head only. So you can't really share it with anyone.
No inside-out tracking?
No. So the one thing about it is that as a headset, it sounds amazing because it's so small and it looks amazing. It's got great internals, and apparently it seems like they've updated their hardware offering prior to release to make it even better. The only downside is you need to buy controllers, you need to buy a PC, and you need lighthouses. So it's not the total package, if I'm brutally honest. And as you can see here, it's using Valve Index controllers. It's very small, but I'm not sure how much traction it's really going to get.
They have one at that event. Someone had it in their hand, or was it a 3D print of one? Madsen was holding one.
Yeah, I think that some of the demo ones were 3D printed shells. So it probably was one, to be honest.
Okay. This event we were at, where we saw this, and obviously other things we've seen, was, like we said, all before the Apple launch event.
Yeah, and we're really there. We're close. Alex can't hold it in. He's desperate.
Well, it's like we're talking about the cave age.
Yeah, I know. Well, we're getting there. We're almost there. We're so close to moving into the future that is now. Anyway, the last thing, which might surprise Alex, and I put this in there as just a little bit of an added tidbit, is that in recent news, some of these things obviously are in sequence. So Nreal rebranded. Maybe not that long before AWE, big screen. Their sort of like VR headset launch was quite recently, but Microsoft are saying that they're not going to be pushing anything in XR, in VR. They're just not. They're not ready to do it. They feel it's not mature enough, and they are not pushing ahead, regardless of what everybody else is doing. So it looks like Microsoft's going to be falling behind.
Bonkers. I mean, PlayStation PSVR 1, or whatever you want to call it, PlayStation VR, was amazing when it came out. The frame rate was a little bit ropey. I'm sure they've fixed it for PSVR 2. I can't believe the amount of times we used to say to each other, when's Xbox just going to let you connect your Oculus to the Xbox?
And there was stuff in the Quest Pro announcement that they said that they were going to be working with Microsoft to give you Game Pass access. You would have thought that they were going to be in cahoots together to say, look, let's not bother developing VR headsets solely Microsoft Xbox. Let's just utilize what's available now, because you're going to have a massive group of people that have Xboxes and might have Quests as well. So it's a no-brainer.
They do
but
like
AirPlay
and everything.
Don't get
AirPlay. You could use like a Quest to connect to it.
No idea why they won't do it, and it looks like they're not going to be doing it anytime soon. So Microsoft, HoloLens failed, and it looks like you're going to be failing in the world of XR. You're going to be really far behind everyone, and you're going to have to play catch up. So
I used to like playing racing, like Colin McRae rally stuff or dirt inside VR with an Xbox pad. They could literally just have VR support for most racing games.
Yes, absolutely.
Ugh. Okay, that's rubbish. No more Xboxes then. Let's just do PSVRs or Steam PCs.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on, just some tech mentions that are really interesting that happened in the last 2 months. One, obviously we all knew ChatGPT landed, and we all know that Tesla have a robot, but Tesla wanted to show off their robot, Optimus, a little bit more in a cool little promo video. And we got to see some Cybertrucks in that video as well, which is pretty amazing. Let's have a look at it full screen. Let's have the music. Let's do it. I don't care.
Okay, so 1 minute of... This was released by who?
This was released by Tesla. So yeah, this is Optimus, their robot that's supposed to be your personal assistant in the future.
You're walking a bit slow.
I think
I could replace Tyrone with like 3 of them.
I think their objective very much is that this will be your home assistant.
Yeah.
You know, and they think that they're going to sell it to you for about 20 grand a pop, which is cheap. Super
20
cheap.
grand does seem cheap. So it can smash an egg or not smash an egg.
But look at this though, like the fact that it's not tethered anymore. It's using all this like vision.
That's the same as the Tesla cars have.
Yeah, absolutely, which is pretty cool. And memorization, and then like this sort of like ability to kind of have some dexterity will be really, really good as well.
Oh, look, that's good. Training it how to do something. It's like training the Falcon, the boosters to land once they've done it once.
You look well happy beyond.
Yeah.
So yeah, this video is really good as a demonstration for showing how it can hold tools, move things from one box to another. But it's super early days. This thing is not complete yet, but it's just a cool video. I really love the video.
Obviously, they had to have Cybertrucks in the background.
Absolutely.
Jeez.
So that's really, really cool. And then as a real side note to the fact that Alex is a massive fan of ChatGPT, they launched their own official app, which Alex for ages was saying, they don't have an app.
Why did we used to keep getting hundreds of adverts saying, ChatGPT, now app, and now the app's available? It was like a fake advert everywhere.
It was fake.
Yeah, I got the app. It was really good. It's now got the voice, dictate, listen to feature, so you can just talk to it.
That is good.
You can just have it on. I recorded like a 20-minute conversation. It just... Actually, it turned it into Welsh a few times. What the hell's that about?
I don't know. I've not
really
heard that
weird.
before.
And then I had to convert it back from Welsh to English. Odd.
Also, just to mention, considering that we're talking about the world of like regenerative AI and things like that, I have officially got my own personal Alex Harvey voiceover, utilizing some amazing AI voice cloning technology.
You should play some bits over the top of this bit. No, I'm sure you've got loads.
I've got some historical.
Some of them might not be very suitable for this podcast.
I got a good one.
He's basically taken my voice and made a computer talk it back so he can get me to say anything that he wants within reason, because it doesn't even sound like me.
Everyone says it sounds like him, and this is the thing that's brilliant, is that Alex will never know what he really sounds like. But the thing is,
we'll let him have his little fun.
I was showing some people this morning, our good friend Paul Spate, and he had no idea it wasn't you.
Really?
He was just like, wow, I thought he was just reading a script. And so I'll play this, and this is what it sounds like. And these are generated through obviously some sample sound clips, and a lot of it has come from this podcast. So Alex likes his Warwick preservation life and going up churches and buildings and things like that. So I thought I'd let Alex tell us a little story. Oh, let's start again. Let's get some volume on this. Okay, and
Once upon a time, Alex Harvey and brother Joe and chum Roscoe ventured to the old town of Warwick. They are on a quest to plunder St Mary's Church of Gold and Silver. The more scans they create, the more addictive it becomes for the Three Musketeers.
Obviously, it's getting better.
That definitely sounds like Alex is reading some nursery rhyme or some fairy tale story. The only downside is he sounds like that all the time. He sounds like a posh Alex.
I'm pretty sure your home life is probably pretty weird when you're falling to sleep listening to me talk to you nursery rhymes, but I bet that's interesting to listen to
and sort of create some incriminating content. Anyway, we're going to move on to the big news that happened in the last few weeks that Alex is bursting to tell us. And
not bursting to tell, because it's old news now.
Yeah, but it's still very interesting to have our take on it. And I think that's where we're going to unpick the bones, or pick the bone, shall we say, of this news from our standpoint. And I think we're going to start off with Meta's announcement, which clearly was preemptive.
Yeah, it was before the Meta announced, before the Apple event, the Quest 3.
Yeah, so I'm going to just sort of skip down, but like Apple sent out their invites to their worldwide developer conference in late May to a lot of media, with the idea that the first day of that conference usually tends to have a big keynote speech unveiling a lot of software improvements or new OSs and the occasional bit of hardware. But it seems like for Meta to get in front of that was
they came
important.
out with this.
So they decided that they were going to show everyone in the world what Quest 3, which is the successor to Quest 2, is going to be like, how it's going to be hardware-wise, what are the improvements.
It looks like amazing upgrade in pass-through, which is what they're trying to get to. And it looks pretty similar. We'll play the video as we're looking through it. Look how thin it looks compared to Quest 2.
Yeah, and
it looks like a step in the right direction, like Zux was saying. Look,
40% slimmer.
Look,
so
it's getting towards glasses. Everyone knows they can't have the perfect form factor yet.
No.
Everyone moans and goes, yeah, it needs to be glasses like these.
Yeah.
It does need to be that, but they need to come at it from both ends. The tech's not there to ram it into these glasses yet, so they're starting by putting a complete screen over your face, like we're seeing here, and we're going to see with the Apple product. That's the new way of doing it. Change your vision. Instead of having a see-through glass screen with optic-y stuff in it, let's just give you a full digital screen. And as long as the pass-through is good enough, it should be fine.
All that's going to end up happening is a little bit like, you know, the arms race in smartphones. Do you remember, like, everyone just wanted to get thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner? And so what ended up happening with the hardware was that it used to be that everything was all sandwiched together, and they tried to make it as thin as possible. Then they just invented new ways of like basically merging the front glass with the screens so that they didn't have to necessarily have a screen and then the glass and then the other bits. The optics will eventually have the panels attached to them in some capacity, as opposed to separate panels with those lenses sitting in front of it. It's all about how can you maximize space. Now, they're saying this is 40% slimmer than the Quest 2, which is impressive. And the other elements of it is having far better pass-through cameras so you can see the outside world in color.
Mixed reality stuff.
Than even the Quest Pro, which, to be fair, the Quest Pro was very good when it released, but you're starting to see its real failures and where they didn't push it as far as they should have done. And actually, when you think about it, it's kind of embarrassing that they can release a product like this with much better pass-through at a third of the price.
This was made a year ago. Like, this whole thing. This product would have been well old now. The things they've got working on now will be better.
I just find it amazing. I'm just finding it amazing they've got the depth sensor on that and they didn't put it on the Quest Pro.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing with it, and I agree, is that this is old news probably for internal stuff that they're doing, but when this releases in the fall, autumn, at $499, this thing is going to have the depth sensors that mean that it takes another step out of the experience of VR that makes it cumbersome, which means hopefully it should be able to scan your room and create your boundary without you having to draw it all out or draw out the walls, which means you can do better mixed reality experiences because you haven't got to map the room out every single time.
Yeah.
That's what I have to do with the Quest Pro.
That is a pain.
Really annoying.
Still have to do that?
Yeah. And there's no way of it really... Like, it can remember rooms, but imagine if you just take it to another room. You've got to do that all over again. Put in the windows, put in the doors, put in the desks, put in the sofas. It's frustrating. So, yeah, from that standpoint, so Meta have announced it's going to be $499 and it will have better depth sensors. It will have colour pass-through that apparently is good enough to be able to read your phone and do really good mixed reality. But it will not have any facial tracking features at all.
Or internal looking at your eyes?
Nothing.
Zero eye tracking?
Zero eye tracking. Which I think could potentially be, one, a cost cutter, but two...
They've got controllers, though, instead of eyes to highlight stuff.
Yeah, and the controllers don't necessarily use cameras like the Quest Pro as well, but don't have the rings. So I don't really know how that's working. Maybe some sort of new SLAM tracking kind of thing that they're doing. I do not know. Maybe the extra cameras and having depth sensors mean it knows where the controllers are as opposed to needing cameras for it.
Interesting. So they've got no eye tracking.
No eye tracking. So they can't really compete with the more higher end offerings that are coming as well. Quest 2 is also getting a price drop, and that's going down to $299. And they're keeping Quest 2.
This little bad boy is going to stay on the shelf.
Yeah, for people's Christmases, maybe a little stocking filler, $299.
Okay. The battery is going to be lower, the chip's older, and then onto this.
That is the chip actually is going to be twice as fast. So it's
Quest
a
3?
new Qualcomm, so that may
Quest
be...
3?
Yeah. So
you would just not ever buy a Quest 2?
No, but having a twice the speed processor, hopefully the games will be a bit better, and obviously that might feed into that Samsung Google headset as well.
We need to get that one, the Quest 3, and get it into a link kit as soon as possible and see if it fits, and if not, make a new one. Yeah.
So moving on to the absolutely monstrous news that was something that was the worst kept secret probably in...
It wasn't the worst kept, it was the most anticipated thing
that we
waited 5 years for.
Let me explain though, it was by far the worst kept secret that was coming with the best kept leaks. Like all the leaks were all talk, all spoken, none of it managed to make its way out. No one ever saw a proper picture. No one knew what its name was going to be. No one knew what its capabilities were going to be. It was all speculative talk.
We do have one more thing. This is a day that's been years in the making, one that I've really been looking forward to. I believe that augmented reality is a profound technology. Blending digital content with the real world can unlock experiences like nothing we've ever seen. So today, I'm excited to announce an entirely new AR platform with a revolutionary new product. And here it is.
I think it's good that they managed. It's great they managed to keep it secret for the whole time. We were in San Francisco at the time, so went down to Apple Park,
Cupertino,
and we went down and watched it. We had a meeting with Apple the day after, and luckily that's a good time to have it because we could discuss the headset. And we're going to hopefully get some of our stuff onto this headset very soon. But it is amazing. I think they've done a really good thing with this pass-through thing. This makes it look like it's a see-through screen, a bit like glasses, which it will be in the future. But it's not. This is a screen that looks at you and shows the person's eyes, which the Quest won't be able to do.
No.
And also with this, there's no controllers, so it's totally different for people. And I'll press play on it as we can see different things about the headset.
Yeah, so the video on the screen is...
I was crying when we were watching the announcement.
Yeah, the video that's playing now is their marketing promotional piece of content for it. It's a little bit different to what they showed at the keynote.
It looks like a Ready Player One trailer.
They elaborated a little bit more, and they sort of showcased a little bit more about how this could be used for productivity, entertainment, etc., etc. And then their collaboration, an amazing looking collaboration with Disney that really kind of got... I can imagine if my emotions were the way they were watching the Disney thing, I can imagine Alex's was like, holy moly, this is going to be incredible. Some of the things that are very, very interesting about this particular headset, like you say, is there's no controllers. It's all hand gesture and gaze. It is a way to interact with the UI that surprisingly has never really been done. I don't know why.
Well, it's because they've now nailed proper pass-through. So you're supposed to be looking at the world like you're using your real eyes.
But I think it's also a latency thing, isn't it? They've managed to get the latency so low and make things work so fast. So every time you look at something, you are looking at an icon, you're looking at a window, and it interacts with the way that you look.
I want to touch on that when you sent me some reviews of people that were saying it was like magic doing the eye tracking.
Yeah.
I felt magic eye tracking when I tried Vario back in the day, 4 years ago. It is amazing. When you look at an aeroplane in a headset and it gives you the name of the aeroplane, that's going to be the same as this wow factor of looking at a picture, then press your fingers together to select. Look at that. I want to be doing that.
But the thing that I'm the one thing that's so frustrating, which you can tell people till you're blue in the face, but unless you have a monster behemoth company like Apple that turn around and tell you that you can take this thing on a plane, you can do this stuff, passively watching stuff in a big cinema, all this stuff. It's like, we've been doing that with headsets for years, but they are just the marketing masters, aren't they? They just know how to show people the way that you can do things.
But that feels good, though, that we were on planes doing this for 4 or 5 years, and it felt nice.
Yeah.
Like, we were right, that it felt like a good feeling.
Yeah.
Having a 2D screen massive in front of you with no one else in your world is really calming and chill out. Look, it's all about that.
Alex didn't want the baby screaming around him on board the flight, which is the way to just sort of like... The one thing I will give Apple, and I expected it, if I'm brutally honest, was they were never going to use any terminology that's probably already been used. They were going to name it their own thing. They were going to name the experiences in the way it was, their own way. They basically said this is an AR headset, not a VR headset, when really it's a mixed reality headset because it utilizes panels and pass-through and is not really true AR glasses, should we say. And I'm really impressed with it. I obviously want to get it on my head and I want to see the weight and I want to see how the strap feels on the back of your head. I want to feel... the feelings, like you said, about people saying it's magical, and I want to see how good that pass-through is, because their claim, and I watched a podcast or like a little interview with Mike Rockwell, who's one of the senior engineers on this, is that he said a lot of this stuff that's in the keynote and stuff was actually filmed through the pass-through of the headset. Now I'm like, what? Really? I can't believe it right now, and I don't believe it right now.
Things like this.
Stuff like that, yeah, which I am unsure of. Maybe it's true, but until I get it actually on my head, I need
this
to
is
see
obviously CG render.
Yeah, I think it's more what you see when you're going from that first person view. He was claiming that that's real, and I'm like, okay, we'll see when we get there. But I think the headset looks fantastic. I think that the front screen is one of those things that I think I get why they've done it, because its intention is they don't want you to take it off, do they? They want you to keep it on at all times.
They know it breaks it if you've got to keep lifting it up.
And you have to keep taking it off to engage with other people. If they see your eyes, they know you're focused on them.
I think
it's not about you, it's about people from the outside. It's very memeable. isn't it?
You've done it. You've tested it with everyone in the office. We literally had the Quest Pro, and you put 3 screens up in front of us for video editing.
Yeah.
They had music, video editing, web browser, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
Those experiences were stunning. It's exactly what they've done here, but in a better way.
Absolutely. And I think that this sort of some of the rumour mill was spreading around about the fact it was going to be tethered with a battery or a puck or where it was going to be. And I had a discussion with someone this morning about going, oh, isn't it a shame about the tether? I'm like, no, it doesn't bother me at all, for the main reason that Apple have basically given you a device, specifically if you're in XR, that you've always wanted capability-wise. They've given you the panels, the resolution, the power, the camera tracking, everything they've given you as all packaged into this small thing, and they've had a trade-off. That trade-off has had to be that battery bank, not creating more weight and discomfort maybe for the user, and I can tolerate that. I'd rather that than be tethered to a PC.
I wonder if they're going to keep doing that as the next one comes out. I mean, we're talking about the next one. There's going to be an iteration of this. It's going to get smaller, thinner, or maybe there'll be a different range. Maybe there'll be a glasses range and then a VR headset range.
I think you'll probably sort of like, it'll be like a pro and non-pro range, won't they, for cost?
Look at that, the way they put it on. Look at as she puts it on, look at the...
This is Alex's face
look
on
at that.
the plane if there's a baby crying.
So cool.
But what I will say that's really good about that particular example
baby mode
is your ability to switch up how much you want to be away from the world or how much you want to be in the world.
Which has never been capable before. It's never been available to do that before because everyone didn't have the ability to switch all those pixels to black again.
No, and I think that
the
also
pass-through was crap on other headsets, so you couldn't really do it.
But it's pass-through first orientated, isn't it? It's augment onto your real world first, and basically virtual reality second.
And then you're turning down the lights on everything.
Yeah,
black it out.
You're taking yourself away from where you want to be. And then
So
they painted a picture
though.
showing volumetric spaces, like, in front of a huge lake in the middle of a forest kind of thing, which was pretty cool if you want to go and sit and watch a movie and you want to be away from being on your sofa at home.
It sounds amazing. You can be chill out zone anywhere.
Absolutely.
Sixed off.
So from that standpoint, I only kind of sort of had to sort of go and have a little bit of a look after the event and sort of think, well, what could compete with this? Where does this sit? Because the downside to me is, and the biggest disappointment about this product is that it wasn't the price, which was $3,499, which is not cheap by any stretch. But then the reality is that I never expected anything that Apple was going to make was going to be cheap. No. I'm pretty sure you didn't either.
No, they set the precedence. Yes, everyone's going to moan about the price. I'm not bothered about the price. The price could have been $5,000. The price could have been $200. The fact that Apple have announced this is the best thing for me.
Yeah,
I've been waiting for it for so long. It just puts everything on the right path now.
So yeah, I think that it is on the right sort of journey. I think that Apple should have brought themselves into the world of VR. I'd like it to have been sooner, but the reality is, I suppose there's been some constraints, and they've decided that they're going to go down a route where, they want to give everyone the best of the best. They don't want to sort of like strip back on anything, a bit like what Meta have done.
Okay. Oh my god. Yeah. Okay, hot off the printer. Hopefully we can use this in the live. Ross just burst in the meeting room. Hot off the printer. It does look good. It does look thicker. This is one of the shields from St Mary's Church.
Nice.
That was Ross's bursting. Yeah. Put us off track a little bit, but this looks cool, doesn't it? Thanks, Ross.
So, nice little 3D print, that one, to be fair. And it doesn't look like it took that long to do. But yeah, no, all I was going to say is that now that they are on this roadmap to creating some amazing hardware, there is definitely going to be some need to make some amazing software. We're really, really keen to do that, and we were lucky enough to get a meeting with some people at Apple the next day on the 6th, just before basically I flew home and Alex flew home the day after that. We had some really, really interesting sort of like conversations. Obviously, we aren't necessarily bound by anything just yet, but we don't really want to jeopardize the potential that we could do. All we know is that the headset is Unity supported, which is great for us.
It means that the headset's going to look amazing with photorealistic objects in it.
And we've got a lot of that, so we've got plenty of stuff that we can kind of do.
Imagine photorealistic stuff now in the real world with us properly.
Yeah.
Not just the virtual world.
And there was
a HoloLens 50% opacity world.
And there was something that was shown within the keynote as well from Disney. It was showing, like, imagine if you could bring Disneyland to your home, and it was like showing basically a 3D animated model on the table. So we've got so much stuff that we can show, and it's going to be a big... It changed the game instantly, didn't it? Like, when we were watching the keynote, we thought it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah,
we're kind of getting to that point where
it
wasn't going to happen. And we were like, there was not going to be a one more thing. And then all of a sudden it did. And it was like literally instantly, I think we all had this moment where we thought, like, the game has changed. And like this headset being $3,500, I think the closest thing that can do any of the stuff that it does is like a Vario XR3. And the reality is that thing costs €7,000 and needs a PC. So it's a paperweight without a PC.
I don't know what they're going to be doing, the Vario guys. What happens now to that?
I think they just have to carry on doing what they're doing with the contracts they've already got. Let this be basically like a power user, consumer power user VR headset, but you just don't know what people want. And this is like cutting edge, like super cutting edge for VR. And it's going to be very interesting to see the comparison reviews when this releases. The downside is it doesn't release till the beginning of next year, US only, which is a bit frustrating.
And Quest will already be out with loads of software.
Yep. But seeing the comparisons between those two headsets' capabilities in terms of its ability to utilize the scanners it's got built into it, this can also shoot 3D video.
We don't know the same thing you just said about having the FaceTime thing locked into a thing. That seems like it's a similar thing for that 3D thing as well.
I think it will be bound to a box, and that any movement that happens happens inside the box, so it doesn't mess with your vision.
But then again, in the future, full body capture stuff could
absolutely happen. Or stabilized camera lenses and things from friends like Canon and stuff like that. Who knows? But yeah, really, really, really amazing to be in Cupertino for that event. Amazing to be able to say that I was there at WWDC 2023. Same with Alex. Same with Kat and Ollie. We loved it.
Amazing to say that I cried into my latte in Apple Park.
And we could go on and talk about this headset and its specs and everything, but I think we should sort of save that for, maybe the next time they do some sort of additional announcement and stuff, we might hear a little bit more about the improvements to it and things like that. If you want to know about any kind of obvious specs that people found out about, like, the panels are higher than 4K, which is pretty incredible, and OLED, that's just stunning in itself.
Every pixel on your iPhone, it's like how many?
I think 62 pixels or 64 pixels for every pixel. It's got 23 million pixels.
Because it's putting a nice magnifying glass in front of it and magnifying those
custom
pixels.
lenses. The only thing I've heard whispers of is that it's going to be very, very constrained in supplies. There's not going to be a lot of them made, maybe even 500,000, which is not a lot really. So Alex is already going to have to get his order in.
Yeah, let's get ordering one. Have you got that company credit card on you?
I wish. I'll
get my card out.
So with that,
look at it. It looks like a beast. I like that little schematic-y shot at the end.
It's showing off on the screen. We've got video up showing how it scans the room and everything. But look at all the cameras. There's like 12 cameras, depth sensors. There's cameras facing down. The way that you interact with it is like literally pinch to kind of focus and pinch, and it doesn't matter where your hands are to a certain degree in front of you.
Rumours are that
amazing.
Only 5% of the company knew about the headset being a thing being launched, and I think during the production, the dev kits that were out there with the Apple employees were very much covered up on the front, so you didn't even know that there was going to be that pixel, the LED screen on the front.
Yeah, and I think that it is one thing that differentiates it from other headsets, but it's also one of those things where, do you think having that screen on the front has added price to it?
Yeah, definitely.
And so in turn,
definitely. I think
where's its value?
I think it's really important as a design choice that we know it's a pain to lift a headset.
Yeah.
I think they want to train you that if we're sat at a table here, I might have my editing over here, and as I look to you, you can see my eyes.
Yeah.
That's just going to feel nice.
Yeah.
I think it's a feel nice thing.
It's a
I think
memeable.
it's for people that are not in VR. Yeah, it's for those people.
It's a memeable thing, but it's something that people won't understand until it's starting to be used more and more and more. You see more of these out in the wild, and it makes full sense to have the ability to basically have what is like eye contact.
So this is not for walking around though yet. This is for sitting in a house somewhere and doing a few productivity things. This is not for running around the streets, is it? It's for sat down.
Well, Alex will do it.
Well,
You're definitely going to do it.
I'm going to wear it in a car.
You wanted to wear Quest Pro in a car. I think you're going to be wearing Quest Pro through the airport whilst you've got all these pop-ups around you and stuff.
Quest 3.
No.
Quest Pro.
Apple.
Oh, said the wrong thing then.
Oh, I don't know what I said, but all I'm
You
saying,
mean Vision? I'd wear Vision Pro in
Yeah,
airport. I wouldn't wear Quest Pro.
No.
Which is what you just said. You'll be able to rewind the time and see that bit.
No, I said you wanted to wear Quest Pro in a car.
Yes.
So you're definitely going to do it with Vision Pro.
Yeah. The pass-through should be amazing to be able to... You should be able to drive with it. They would never tell you to do that.
No.
But if the latency is fast enough, you should definitely be able to drive.
As long as the thing is, all the demos that we've seen online for your Marquez Brownlees and your iJustines and all these guys have very much had a very controlled demo. Like everything has been perfect lighting. No one knows what any of the cameras are like in low light and how good the tracking will be in low light, or whether it's got good dynamic range in terms of exposures of the cameras. Yeah. So when we get all that information, then we'll know whether it's actually blow away or not, or whether Alex crashed his car because everything went white in his headset. So we'll find out. But
literally the screen goes black.
Yeah. But it's been a good podcast. It's I've had my Apple mug with some juice in it, which has been quite nice.
That's a new mug.
Yeah, got my mug. Ollie got his mug.
Have you held it up on the camera?
Yeah. Look.
Did you buy it?
Mhm.
You got a T-shirt as well.
I got a T-shirt. I also got a Ted Lasso T-shirt as well, which I love that because it's totally sold out everywhere. So it was definitely the best buy. It was $35, and I saw it online for sale for nearly $100. So I'm like, happy days. And it made me watch Ted Lasso because I'd not watched it.
I don't know anything about Ted Lasso. So.
Yeah, it's good though. Apple Originals program. Watch it if you haven't. But
okay.
We're going to wind the podcast up. It has been really, really good to go over all the stuff over the last 2 months. Hopefully we'll be back sooner rather than later. And
there he is,
hopefully we can get more.
Yeah,
I'm trying the AR overlay of the headset, and hopefully we'll get to try a real one sooner than we want.
Yeah, we look forward to the X Real glasses and the Vision Pro arriving in the post.
Yeah, cool. All right, well, see you again for the next one.
Later.